Good evening, my devout Demetrodons. If the whole world is a stage and everyone is an actor, what role would you play? Well, it doesn't matter because it's gonna be misunderstood. Just like Vivian, she's the most misunderstood character in ZZZ, and I want to point out some of the nuances to her role in the story. I also want to talk about her growth arc because it's missing from most of the discussions about how off putting her obsession with Phaethon is. This is building off my original theory about Mockingbird, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out next. I'm also starting with a theory, not a deep dive, because of this. I think Mockingbird is inspired by William's visions of Piers Plowman. For a Too Long Didn't Watch, it's about the writer exploring what it means to be a Joe Schmo and how they can live with integrity. Yap, 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 alright. Lycon is humility, Vivian is devotion, and Hugo is self-sacrifice. These are the roles for the play that Hugo cooked up in the belief that the whole world is a stage. In the vision where William learns about devotion and devotional worship, he falls asleep during Mass and has a dream vision where he meets consciousness. In condition, quoth consciousness, that thou can defend and rule thy realm in reason, right well and in truth, that thou had thine askest the law asketh, everything is yours to defend, but not to apprehend. I think it's an excellent quote to really encompass everything that Vivien has gone through in the story. And aside from that, Vivien also has to face her conscience. She was involved with the Exaltists and idolizing a normal person who would have been kind regardless of the situation. We see this in her embarrassment around the main character, and in Part B, it's evident that she's struggling with mixed emotions and a huge sense of shame and embarrassment. It's welling up, but it hasn't fully surfaced it by the beginning of Part B. By the end, we see her running from the main character in embarrassment after deciding to use the serum. When they wake up and look for her, we get a glimpse into Vivian's world. She's clearly torn over what happened, and instead of thinking about her loved ones, she's thinking about her desire to be remembered as not weird and not sick. That's tragic. This is where things get really frustrating for Vivien. Now, instead of metaphorically being saved by Phaethon, she is physically saved by them. It's gotta be confusing for her. She just started to get over her weird obsession and projecting onto them, and now she has a pretty valid reason to do so. And we know Vivien is devoted to her visions. She learned to trust them, and part of her devotion is sharing them, even if it means she will be ridiculed. She also learns to view them as a gift. Hugo reinforces this for her, and part of why they're so close. I mean, there's a ton of reasons, but this is a huge one. He's the first person who she became close with that truly values her and her gift. Phaethon also shares the sentiment, but they didn't respond that way when they had their vision of the future. They were scared and confused. Reminding Vivien that the visions or gifts also helped them regain some power in the face of the vision they had. This is a perfect segue into her role in the overarching story. Vivien and Astra are two sides of the same coin, and it's a shiny one. They act as a mirror for Phaethon and a catalyst for their growth. We see Belle and Wise navigate being legendary proxies. Whether they're meeting their idol or meeting a fan, they choose to grow from their experiences. With Astra, they gain perspective. It was weird for them to fangirl over her while doing a job, just like it was weird for Vivien to do it. Phaethon's response to Vivien is heavily informed by the realization that Astra is just a normal person with a bonkers job and wants to be treated like that. Belle and Wise don't believe they're special, but that they work very hard for what they have and their legendary status. It's important that the Astronomical Moment special episode came out before the epilogue because Belle and Wise need to be empathetic and sympathetic towards Vivien for her role in the story to really work. Alright, now for the deep dive into Vivien's character. We are first introduced to Vivien in the Bangboo New Year event. This is hilarious. She doesn't know it's them yet, and looking back, it only gets funnier that she says, "I'm not a fan of you." In Part A of the epilogue, Vivien thinks Phaethon is just one of Phaethon's fans and is happy to share that she's actually their biggest fan. She tells them to be brave about their interests and embodies the advice, "To be cringe is to be free." She realizes it's actually Phaethon has a fangirl moment, and after being reminded of the task at hand, she gets back on track. By the end of Part A, she is feeling conflicted about her relationship with Phaethon. At this point, the audience doesn't know what Vivien meant by saving her life. Part B of the epilogue opens with Belle and Wise chatting. When the main character goes to take a nap, they wake up to Vivian snoozing next to them. She's clearly still enamored by them, and instead of staring, she turns away and composes herself. Then we learn more about her connection to the Exaltists. We see Vivian face her fears with grace and kindness. She has grown a lot, and even though she feels a little shameful about her crush on Vivien, she still confesses and moves forward by not acting obsessive. Her feelings have to be confusing for her. By the end of Part B, Vivien has strong feelings for Vivian. It doesn't have to be romantic, but we know they care about her. They have a sense of pride that they inspired her to keep moving forward. They also saved her life, metaphorically and physically. She has every right to be a fan of Vivien at this point. It's cute that Vivian is normal with the sibling and has a huge crush on the Vivien the player picks. We have to talk about Robin and Butler being a mirror for Vivian and Rain, though. Rain is a regular at Random Play and one of the first NPCs that we are introduced to as a player. It's hilarious that Robin and Vivian are yearning for someone, and they are quickly reminded that they are delusional by someone who is actually close to their love interest. R.I.P. in pieces, Robin adores Butler, but has never had any of his tasty snacks. Vivian adores Vivien, but Rain has been vital to their real goal while being a genuine friend. Most of her events are about being embarrassed, but this one is tough. Not as bad as the journal one. So much of her charm is in how she handles moments like this. It's an absolute nightmare. It's a nightmare. I would never want to read my journal in front of someone who I knew. Anyone I knew. No one can read my journal. So I'm feeling this deep in my soul. It's a nightmare. We also see in Vivian's movie store promotion cutscene, she requested a movie about ruins, most likely because that's what Wise would love to watch, and it ends up being a documentary about junkyard cats, which is perfect for Belle. At this point, she's no longer obsessed with a faceless celebrity, but has a crush on someone she has a deep connection with. It's so cute in the story, but the community acts like her whole personality is being an obsessive fangirl. She's clearly where she is because she worked hard to get there, and there is a huge emphasis on how she's a jack of all trades because of all of her silly part-time jobs and side hustles. Her unwavering morals and devotion to her visions are integrated into everything she says and does. I mean, talk about nuance. Because, I don't know, let me know what you think, because I love how she's still goofy, but has a lot going on in her story and her growth, and we can expect to see more of her in the future. Sorry, it's just a short one today. Every time I start working on a script, I keep looking for more lore that has not been revealed yet. It's annoying as heck, so next video is going to be housekeeping and vibes-only predictions. Then, the season 1 recap, and hopefully I'll be back on track by then. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.